We're going to do a couple of things right quick here this morning, just a little test of the camera. We're going to clean a little crappie I picked up last night, one of a few. And we're going to do a test on a little Browning cork handle fillet knife. It feels a little thin to me for the natural grip, but when you start laying it down, really thin handle, lays flat against the board. It's actually a pretty good design. As you can tell from a little mess, I just gave it the initial try before I started filming. I'm quite pleasantly surprised with it. I usually clean with a electric fillet knife. When I'm doing a lot, I probably still will, but I'm going to keep this with me for packing. I do the same thing on all of the fish. I start out behind the fin and the gill plate, make a downward cut until I make contacts. There's a rib cage here, slide out from the rib cage, try to go down the backbone until I clear the rib cage, go through, slide out. Classic cut. You've probably seen it done 1,000 times. If you don't chase your cleaning board, it takes some of the sport out of it. You can feel the actual ribs while you're running this through here. You can do it from either direction, both directions, and I wouldn't fret the little thin meat over the ribs. You're going to end up getting rid of a good bit of it in a few minutes anyway. Be really conscious of where you're cutting and how you're pointing your knife. See, we'll go right down next to the ribs, right over these. I've obviously cut a couple of these out. That's not going to be a biggie. Just turn around and hit her from the other end. Back in against the backbone with the tip of the knife. Be really conscious of where you got your finger and where you're putting pressure on the knife. You slide off the end of that rib cage. Come out here. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on this. You can tell from my fumbling I'm spoiled by the electric knife. I also normally have running water over my fillets. Kitchen fork looks really good for dull fingertips. There is a small line of bones that goes right down across the top of the rib cage. I cut that in the last couple of ribs that I get by accident regularly out. Trim off your dorsal muscle. This is thick, this is thin, two very different cooking patterns, so I don't try to force them together. Now, relatively thin, all thin. These go directly into a bowl of water. The water floats off slime and anything else you might have transferred to it. It also keeps insects from getting to it. We'll clean these really good with underflowing water later on. This is good. For those that like it crunchy, these thin ones cook a little bit faster, so I cook them together, pull them all in and out at the same time. And actually, if I've got any blood meat that's in the meat instead of on the meat, I trim it. I don't fight washing off something that's embedded. And there we go. I keep a roll of paper towels handy, and regularly you'll see me reach out a frame. I do that on the roll of paper towels. That'll simply roll up and come off and work fine. A little Browning knife for a regular knife gets an A. And I hope it's been of some use to you.